You mentioned next question.
Yeah, so the next question is, if I have $50,000, what is the best way to make the most money on that without losing my mind? And I made a joke is that I had an answer to that question until I got to the without losing my mind section. That is a balancing act, and mine comes at 7. Any more than 7 houses, and my brain goes.
Does that have to do with the 50K?
If you have $50,000 and you want to know how to make the most money with it possible, buy some apartments.
I struggled a little bit with the question itself because what is make the most money? Are we talking about...
And how much time is involved with that?
Are we talking about cash flow in the first year? Or are we actually talking about money over a longer term period of time, right? Because those are very different things. I'll tell you an easy way right now to make $50,000. Finance somebody else's project. Be a private money lender.
I have a student right now that needs $25,000 on a vacation rental in Costa Rica.
And I'll tell you a little secret right here. If you
She'll pay you back in like 2 months.
If you promise you won't tell any of my private lender, who all's on this? Well, we might see this. Oh well. Anyway, we're gonna throw this out there. Don't tell any of my private money lenders. If you'll ask for an equity stake in the deal, you'll make more money. Okay. I prefer to pay what I call a preferred rate of return, which means the investor gets paid first out of all profits a designated amount, and then we worry about what happens to everything. I've done hybrid deals. I've done hybrid deals where I offered a preferred rate of return and I've offered an equity stake in the deal, if that's what it took to secure the funding, right? But, you know, 50 grand is enough. You know, I have a lot of people that come to me and say, hey, I got 10,000. And I'm all about encouraging people and stuff, but commingling funds and things like that, you know, start, you know, the SEC, and I'm not talking about the South Teachers Conference football, you know, I'm talking about the Securities and Exchange Commission. There's rules against commingling funds on deals and stuff like that. Just don't do it, okay? You don't want to do that. If you're going to commingle funds, I mean, if you're going to accept separate funds, you really need to stagger, you know, unless you have this big operating agreement. You just don't want to do it, okay? But 50K is enough to fund somebody's project, especially if they can buy with owner financing and your 50K is only funding the rehab, and then you're going to turn around and sell it.
Or the down.
You know, whatever the case may be, that's the quickest and easiest way to make money without losing your mind.
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
But, you know, if we're talking about actually buying an asset that's going to earn money over the long run, you know, like Kiyosaki talks about in his book, right? What's the mindset of rich people? The first piece of their disposable income they spend it on assets. They spend it on things that are going to earn money and continue earning money. You know, we talked about the contract assignment earlier. Nothing wrong with assigning a contract. Don't feel guilty about it. But it is not the way to optimize value on a property, more than likely. It's just not. It's quick and easy.
And you can get your money back in your pocket.
So with this, you know, I would kind of say, depending on what your goals are, Whitney had a great suggestion. If you can take 50K and buy some apartments, a small apartment complex, or be a partner in buying a small apartment complex, oh my gosh, that's a wonderful opportunity.
If you have $50,000 and you're trying to figure out how to make money with it, you could ask 50 people, and depending on how many women you ask, you'll get at least 50 different answers. I would tell you, if you have 50 grand, if somebody out there has 50 grand, if you got 30 grand, if you got 20 grand, I mean, whatever you have, the thing that Jason and I both did when we got started is we hired a mentor. We hired one person. We didn't hop around to a bunch of different people. We just found one person who was successful. We hired them to be our mentor, and we leaned on their guidance, on their experience, to help our investment in their mentoring make us 10 times as much money in our investments.
Can I tell my story from tonight?
Okay, yeah, go.
So Whitney and I went to the nail place tonight. And yes, I know some of you may want to take my man card away, but about 3 years ago, I broke down and got a pedicure.
It was my birthday. He was going to do whatever I wanted to do.
And never had one in my entire life. And she begged and begged and begged while I was sitting there waiting.
I didn't beg.
You did. So I went over there and got it done, you know. And about halfway through, I was like, man, this feels pretty good. And when they broke out the razor and actually started shaving the disc, it felt so good.
Go on,
anyway,
go on with your story.
All right, so now, anyway, so now I'm a pedicure fan, right? So Whitney goes and gets her nails done, and I'm here.
He's all like, ooh,
and I'm like, can I go get a pedicure? So we go tonight, and she gets both toes and hands done, and I don't let them touch my hands. So when I got done, I went over and sat in a little waiting area. And there were two women sitting there. And they began to strike up a conversation about their daughters who apparently are very close in age. And they were talking about the cost of a college education. And one of them said, yeah, you know, I'm a little bit frustrated that, you know, we paid the kind of money for her to go to private school, paid for her then all this money to go to college, and now she's basically working a job that she doesn't really need a degree to begin with. And the other lady said, I know, I'm in the same situation. When she was in college, she started being a nanny for this family to earn extra money. And now that she's graduated, she's found out that she's making more money being a nanny than she can go out and find a job with her degree. Now, you know, my first thought was, well, maybe they're just not looking at the right opportunities or whatever. But then I started reflecting on my own life, okay? I went and got a degree in 4 years. And I got out of school, and I felt like it took me forever to make $100,000 a year. And the reason is, when you're low on the totem pole, you don't get bonuses, or if you do, you get very little bonuses. Now, you know, once I finally hit that $100K mark, it didn't take me very long to get to 150. And then once you get there, it doesn't take you very long to get on up, right? Because as you move up, the salary doesn't move a whole lot, moves a little bit, but $20,000 or $30,000 on an annual salary is not what you want. What you want is you want that big bonus. You want that profit sharing. You want that cash incentive. You want those things, and at the end of the day, you end up getting more in bonuses than you do in your salary, right? So once you hit those marks, it flips really quick, but it takes you a long time to get there, if you ever get there. I got people I started with that still aren't there. And then I look back and I looked at what I did in real estate. And I started off with nothing, y'all. I bought my own home, and until I met Whitney, I didn't know anything else about real estate. I thought you had to have money to invest in real estate. I really did. I thought you had to have significant cash to go put down to invest in real estate. That's where I was at. That's where my mindset was at.
He also knew people during the recession before I came along that had vacation rentals and lost them. He knew people that went to boot camps and lost their investment on that. That story I wrote this morning was half about him and half about one of my one-on-one students' husbands.
But to make a long story short, when I got started too, I did the same thing Whitney had done. I got mentors. When I moved on to multifamily, I got a mentor.
Like it wasn't even a question. When I hired a mentor at Ron LeGrand's boot camp and I told him how much I spent on a mentor, Lord help. I thought we were done at that point, okay? But he saw me work with the mentor, and he saw them keep me motivated. He saw them answering my questions. He saw them pushing me through my deals. Then when we went to apartment school and it came up, hey, I've got a mentor program, he was like, I'm in. Here's my card.
What did Tony Robbins say?
I don't know. He says a lot, and I'll listen to every bit of it.
Was it Tony? It was one of the big guys. Was it Tony Robbins that said, if you want to be successful, go find out somebody out there doing what you want to do and replicate it?
Follow them. Everything that they do it.
That's what you do. Find somebody. If you want to do something and you don't know how to do it, you find somebody that succeeded at it and get them to teach you how to do it. And it's funny because we don't think anything about it these days. You know, now I'm a lot older than Whitney is and stuff like that. You know, I was pretty fortunate in the fact that I was a student athlete in college, so I didn't have a bunch of student loan debt when I graduated. I was very fortunate for that. But when I was in school back in the day, even then, you know, people were paying 70 grand for a 4-year college education. Now it's over 6 figures in a lot of cases. And people don't bat an eye at that. People don't bat an eye at 100 grand for a college education because that's what you've been taught your whole life you need to do. Okay? And I'm not saying a college education is useless, but I can tell you this. I got to 6 figures in real estate in months. I got to 6 figures in my corporate job
in decades. How old are you, by the way?
It wasn't decades, but it was a long time. Okay,
it wasn't months. I got to 6 figures in real estate in the first year.
It was a long time. So, you know, I think a lot of times we underestimate ourselves, and we think, you know what, I don't really want to spend $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 or in some cases $10,000 because I can't do it. I'm not the kind of person that can do it. You know, and we make all these excuses up for ourselves. I mean, we really do. You know, reflect on that. I think a lot of people need to sit back and think about that, you know. And again,
I don't. I think they need to, when that comes in and they think, me, I think you need to think, should I go ahead and do this now so that I can make what I want? Or should I wait until I get further down the line and I'm further behind than if I'd started when I first had that thought? When you start to think, me, I think that's the time you say, you know what? I need somebody to kick my butt in gear. I need somebody to show me what's going on. I need somebody to prod me along. I need somebody to motivate me. I need somebody to push me. I need somebody.
And no matter how smart you are, somebody's always smart. Whitney and I both right now are working with mentors. Now we're working
I hire mentors all the time. I love mentors.
You know, for me, it doesn't stop. I have found the value in investing in myself, and I'm not going to stop. I'll go to the grave. Hell, I might even get somebody to mentor, you know, how to really be a badass once you're dead or something. You know, I've seen the
best
value
way to get your value out of 50 grand is to find somebody that has also multiplied that into multiple times and can show you how to take a portion of that or none of that and make it explode.
And just do what they're doing.
Put it on repeat.